Hey, what's up, YouTube? Zoo Talks back here in the wood shop. Sorry for sorry I've not been posting lately. Felt like we were making some good progress when I was. But however, I came down with some kind of illness. You can see I still have like a residual, bit of it left where my voice isn't like fully back 100%. It's been like a 2-month process of having this. I don't attribute it to COVID. Like every time anybody I talk to is like, oh, did you get tested? Like, I myself haven't been tested. However, my daughter's pregnant and my other daughter has been in the hospital with her, getting ready for the delivery. And they've all been tested. We're all in the same house. So they're negative and they continually get tested. So I know it's not that. I don't really know what it is, honestly. Started about 2 months ago. My voice just kind of I felt like I had like a sore throat, like laryngitis, if you will. And ever since then, my voice has just kind of been weak. But like this last week and a half in my house, we all kind of came down with like a version of bronchitis. And I always get bad bronchitis because I don't have good lungs. So whenever I get sick, any kind of sickness, as soon as I start making, as soon as the bacteria or the virus starts affecting my upper respiratory system, it messes me up pretty good. So you can see the residual effects are still here. But I'm really kind of excited to make videos again, so just bear with me. Excuse me. So what I want to talk about, I know I missed a whole bunch of stuff, and I've been taking notes all this time to talk about stuff, because I've been following all the current events, been following the war in Ukraine. Of course, every day you can't turn on a news program and not find information coming out. Mostly, I wouldn't call it information, I would call it propaganda. There's just a continual stream of propaganda and what's going on over in Ukraine. So by all accounts, in our news cycle, they've got Russia lost. Russia lost the war. It's interesting. I find that interesting as hell because America's kind of been fearful of Russia since the Cold War back in in the 50s, right? 50s and 60s. We had this major fear of war with Russia. They used to train our grandparents and even our parents, depending on how old you are, to hide under the desk in school and stuff in the event of, that Russia was going to do something. So it was serious thing. We've been worried about Russia's wartime abilities or capabilities forever. And as it turns out, they can't beat a bunch of civilians in the country next door with all of their, clearly I don't really believe that. I know it's just propaganda. I think they're just trying to piss Russia off, honestly. Because it just seems unlikely, but they're saying all those strange things on TV. Psaki yesterday said that, by all accounts, Russia has lost the war in Ukraine, right? They didn't take over Kiev. I know they decimated that one city. And as far as I know, they still have the Donbass and that other area on the eastern flank that's, now kind of belongs to Russia. They took Crimea several years ago. They still have control of Crimea. And what is it, Mariupol or something like that? Mariupol? I think they pretty much have control of that. So, but if taking control of 4 or 5 separate areas of a country is considered a loss, then I guess, yeah, Russia lost. And then the government is doing their best job to put the spin on it. Yesterday in the interview, or on Friday in an interview, Psaki said that they wouldn't consider They wouldn't consider it a loss for Ukraine if Russia was to remain occupying all these regions um, in Ukraine, right? Russia could stay in Ukraine and occupy and set up their own system of governance in these areas like they were always theirs. And the U.S. wouldn't consider that a loss for the Ukraine. So, I mean, that goes back to the thing that, one of the things that pisses me off the most in America. That's it's like giving Ukraine a participation trophy, well, you guys are the real winners here. Yeah, you lost tens of thousands of miles of land, but you guys are the real winners here. Whatever. It's all nonsense anyway. So what happened yesterday? Did we see Pelosi and Schiff and 3 other Democrat senators went over to Ukraine, in a secret meeting? Oh, by the way, we pay for that. Taxpayers. We pay for that Secret Service detail. We pay for the flights. We pay for their hotels, their travel expenses, all that stuff. That's all on us. And they're over there to meet with Zelensky. For what? Did you see her press conference where she talked about Russia being a bully and we're not afraid of bullies? We don't back down from bullies. Yeah, that's the Democrats again threatening big war with Russia. Because the Democrats aren't afraid to send your sons and daughters in the Ukraine to die. They're not. They're really not afraid to do it. They'll do it. It won't be their sons and daughters though. It'll be our sons and daughters. We really should as Americans look at this stuff and kind of break away from the media and our social media platforms and our sports, and let's pay attention to the world and the governance of the world. Let's pay attention to what they're doing with their money. What are they doing over there? They're trying to get another $35 billion in aid to give to Ukraine. It's wild. But $35 billion in Ukraine, all those kickbacks will come back to these senators that were over there talking about it. It's wild. That's all this whole Ukraine thing is. And Russia knows it, and that's why Russia's doing it. Russia's trying to expose our role in what's going on in Ukraine and what's been going on in Ukraine. You had, remember, Biden's son sat on the board of directors of Burisma, and Biden himself said that if they didn't fire that prosecutor who was investigating Hunter Biden, that he was going to cut off of that $1 billion in loan guarantees. That's what it is. This is all about pay for play. This is all about corruption. And now this is all about covering up that corruption. They're trying to kill that paper trail so it can't be traced back to who's really involved in all this. Because it's them. It's the government. And I'm not even talking about just Democrats. I'm sure there's Republicans involved in this too, honestly. Because they don't do anything either. They just sit back and watch, and they're just like, oh, the Democrats this, the Democrats that. But they don't make any policies or laws to make any changes, When as Americans are we going to stand up for ourselves and say that we're not going to do this anymore? That we want accountability in our government and accountability in how our money gets spent, how our tax dollars get used. When is that going to happen? Don't you think that it's been long enough? Because it scares me. It makes me nervous because they will literally send our sons and daughters away to war to cover up their own corruption. And that's all we're seeing. On that subject, the news, the media, fear-mongering. Fear-mongering is nuts. Everything on TV right now is fear-mongering. Every YouTube program that you go on right now, every prepper channel, and I watch several, all the big names, and I don't want to call them out, because I know they're YouTubers. They're trying to make a living doing this stuff, and I appreciate their work, and a lot of them do a lot of great investigation, but I think they get sucked into this whole fear-mongering thing. and they're constantly reporting like, is today the day that the nukes are going to drop? Is today the day that Russia sends over the Satan bomb? Or whatever the hell that the Satan missile? Like come on. And then when it's not that, what do we got? Oh, the avian bird flu. So what do we got to do? We got to wipe out 1 billion chickens so that the price of poultry in America is going to go up. It's going to triple in price. Like, oh, what happened? Oh, evidently there's some kind of pork crisis now too because the pigs came down with some kind of disease. So they gotta cull a bunch of pigs, and they're culling millions and millions of chickens at the moment, and they're telling you that the farts from the cows are ruining the environment, and you should go out and buy a $75,000 or $80,000 Tesla right now, and any minute a nuclear bomb could get dropped on us. Oh, and don't forget about COVID. COVID is still there. We're just waiting for it to come back. I mean, it's oddly quiet here in America right now. COVID is. I do see an occasional commercial about getting your booster and whatnot, but it's oddly quiet right now. But I assume that's because of the midterms are coming, and they don't want to do anything that's gonna, the Democrats' base is so kind of messed up right now that they don't want to do anything and do any lockdowns or whatever because everybody's already had it with Biden's policies and his executive orders and the way that the inflation and the unemployment and the downturn in the economy and the price of gas and diesel and the housing market, which is has blown up exponentially and it's completely out of control. But now the Fed is raising the interest rates. So I just saw that the other day. Like I'm blessed because where I'm at, my interest rate in my house is I think just over 3%. And I see now the national average is up over 5%. Like that's pretty crazy that it's going up that much that fast, but that's what's gonna happen. And that's only after 2 interest hikes. He said that he was gonna do 3 this year. So there's 3 more coming. Or no, he said 5. So there's 3 more coming, So I mean I think we're gonna see by the end of the year we'll be back. People's mortgages will be back to 6, 7, 8% interest, which is, we haven't seen that since the 90s, since the 1990s. But yeah, the fear monger is completely out of control. Every channel, every program, they all got us something like terrible is going to happen, or is it going to be an EMP? Is an EMP going to wipe out our electrical grid? Is North Korea going to fire one of their new ballistic missiles? Or then there's always good old China, right? There's a lot of fear mongering around China and what they're doing. China's got us by the balls. Oh, China makes 95% of all of our medicines and raw materials for our medicines. So if they decide to cut us off, big problems. It's wild that that, but it doesn't matter. Any news program, any prepper channel, any kind of other channel on YouTube that you turn on, this is all anybody's talking about. And I guess they're doing it for views, I'm kind of tired of it though, honestly. I'm going to try to, going forward, I'm going to talk about the current events and give you my take on them, but I'm not buying into this. I think we're all going to be just fine, honestly. I don't think anything's going to happen. I don't think we're going to get nuked. I don't think there's going to be a nuclear war. If there was going to be a nuclear war, if Russia was going to start dropping bombs, well, shit, they already lost the war, right? According to all the world's news programs. I think they would do it by now, honestly. If they were going to do it, I think they would have done it. They've already technically lost what they were in there fighting for. So, isn't that what you do? If you're losing and you throw a Hail Mary, right? You gotta get it back. So, I think all this stuff is distractions. I think it's a constant flow of distractions to keep us from asking the really important and pertinent questions about what's going on in the world. I'll give you another example of that. The Johnny Depp trial. Johnny Depp and whatever her name is, Amber Heard or whatever. That thing is being broadcast live every day. They got a news media like stationed in there, and they're broadcasting this man's personal life live on TV. Why? For entertainment, for distraction, of course. But 2 months ago when Ghislaine Maxwell was on trial, and we were talking about procuring young girls for sexual misconduct with these politicians and these famous people, right? Was the news allowed in there? Nah. Why doesn't anybody ask these questions? Why weren't we allowed to know what went on with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell? Why not? But yet every second of this poor man, Johnny Depp's life and his struggles and the things he went through with his ex-wife are being just like broadcast on us live stream. Think about that. Ask yourself why. Because they want us distracted. They want us distracted. Last thing I want to talk about tonight, which just amazes me and it constantly amazes me, because I don't know how he does it. Elon. I got nothing bad to say about the man. I also think he's part of the distraction, though. Why hasn't anybody killed him yet? I don't want anything to happen to Elon. I think he's destined to do big things. I really do. But he's basically bucked the oil industry, creating Tesla. He bucked NASA and whatnot, creating SpaceX, and creating all these relandable missiles and reusable missiles and stuff. It's amazing that the man does these great things. He creates a space program where you can reuse the missiles. Think about our tax dollars, and I forget what it is. It's NASA spends $60 million a day of taxpayer funded money on space programs. And they've been doing that since the 50s, 60s, right? So I don't know how many trillions of dollars that is. But, in 5 years, Elon Musk, one man, put together a space program and made reusable missiles. Why doesn't anybody ask? Where's that technology been? Why and why is it privatized? I'm glad it's privatized, but why did it take so long then for it to get privatized? How did one man change the game in this way? Or are we is our government just so inefficient and ineffective that they never even looked at the possibilities of doing this stuff? You know what I mean? We're sending telescopes into space that cost $100 billion that are just going to get lost. We have rovers supposedly on Mars that are worth tens of billions of dollars just driving around. And what happens? They get dust on them and they shut down. That's taxpayer money. We're paying that. Elon creates a reusable space program. Elon makes the first electric vehicle, mass-produced electric vehicle. That's, pretty nice, obviously. Elon, he's going to be the first person to build a high-speed rail here. Because our government couldn't pull it off. Our Army Corps of Engineers couldn't pull it off. But Elon's going to do it. He's got that boring company, and he's tunneling tunnels all over the place. And next, he'll be building high-speed rail, I'm sure. And he's not even American, which is amazing. He's South African doing all this, And now what's he do? Now he buys Twitter. I don't really care that he bought Twitter. I do think that Twitter was, without a doubt, a leftist echo chamber. That was what I used to go on Twitter for, was to read a Tucker Carlson or a Hannity or a Tim Pool tweet, just so I could read the comments following it, because they're always just angry leftists with no actually valid points to anything, that just resort to insults and nastiness. I always I don't know, I shouldn't enjoy that kind of shit because it is so negative, but it is kind of fun or funny You know what I mean? But now he bought Twitter, and the left is losing their minds. You know, everybody thinks some great reckoning. I don't think there's gonna be a great reckoning. I don't think he's in it for that. I mean, I think he's like anybody else. I think he's, if anything, I think he's like a super, super wealthy guy who's just bored. And he gets these like good ideas. Like, I mean, I know he didn't read it, but I tweeted at him the other day because I think he should buy a news media program. Like he should purchase MSNBC or CBS or ABC or NBC, whatever. He should purchase one of these big like news programs, or even CNN for that matter. He'd probably get a good deal on that right now because their stocks in the shitter, you know. But I think he should buy one of these news media programs and just gut it. Go in there, get rid of all the anchors, get rid of all the investors, get rid of all of the advertisers, get rid of the board of directors. Let that thing be privately held, and then create an editorial board that's like, you know, you have to interview and do a lot of work to get there, but like hire a whole like stream of unbiased reporters and editors to report the news with no like ratings, no advertisers, none of that shit, right? Just they go out there, see what's happening in the world, report the news, you know, with no spin at all. I mean, I bet you would change the world. I bet you it would change the world. I think people would flock to that, watching that just for the trueness of it, you know, the trueness without the spin, you know. All right, YouTube, I appreciate you listening to this rant here tonight. I'll try to record again, like, you know, 4 or 5 nights a week. I'm also going to start recording on our other 2 channels. We've been doing our How's You Built, you know, which is our like construction channel, and our time lapses, and some of my woodworking stuff. But I'm also going to try to start off on that. I'd say right about the time I got sick, about 2 months ago or so, I started another channel. It was going to be called like How's You Wellness, and for obvious reasons, I haven't done anything with it because I've made some significant changes in my life that I kind of want to, you know, I kind of want to put out there in public. You know, just things that have been going on with my health and whatnot, and I want to start, you know, well, for a couple of reasons, but I want to start talking about it and putting it out there, but mostly for accountability reasons of myself, because I've made some changes, but I also have to make some more changes. And so I kind of want you guys to go on a journey with me, you know, in my How's You Wellness channel as well. So anyway, I'm gonna try to do the pilot sort of talk for that maybe tomorrow. See how it goes. We'll see how my voice is. You know, even this right now, it's like it's a little bit of a strain to even talk for this long. But I mean, I'm glad that I did, and I thank you for joining me. So until the next time, this is How's You Talks from the wood shop. I'll show you guys later too. You see that? That's a tabletop I built today. And then over there we got a couple like TV stands and whatnot that we're working on. And yeah, we got to get back working in here too, because we were doing a whole bunch of stuff on the wood shop and making upgrades in here, but we haven't done much because of my illness for the last 2 months. So we'll get back on it though. Thanks, guys.